now available as paperback and e-reader from the author of Spinsterella, A Strange and Unusual Romance, and Spellbound, A Darker Shade of Black comes from Legendary Magazine. And you get the conclusion of the Spinsterella trilogy in paperback and e-readers at online booksellers today. "19-year-old DaCara Thompson, a young black girl, wound up losing her life when she went out with Hugo Hernandez Mendez, an illegal immigrant from Guatemala who came to America."
Tonight, WJZ Investigates uncovering new information about the murder of a 19-year-old whose body was dumped over a bridge near Annapolis. A suspect we know in custody tonight, and authorities say he's in the country illegally. Investigator Mike Halgren live in Anne Arundel County with what charging documents reveal about this man and the case. Mike, good evening.
Good evening, Rick. 7 pages of detailed charging documents. This suspect was from Guatemala. According to court records, he worked for a Baltimore-based landscaping company. Police used surveillance video and cell phone tracking to build their case. This suspect is now being held without bail. And a warning, some of the details you're about to hear are disturbing.
This is a good young woman who wanted to do good for her community.
Have you seen DaCara?
A heartbreaking end to the search for 19-year-old DaCara Thompson. Her family desperately looked for answers for weeks.
I want my baby back. I just simply want my daughter back.
Police found Thompson's body on Route 50 near Interstate 97 in the Annapolis area. According to charging documents WJZ Investigates obtained, the suspect, 35-year-old Hugo Hernandez Mendez, threw her body off a highway bridge into the South River. She had skull and facial fractures. Her family identified her through tattoos.
At this time, there are no additional suspects. However, this investigation is ongoing.
Thompson, who lived with her dad, disappeared after going out to get gas. She sent him this text.
"I should be back soon. I love you too. Good night."
The 19-year-old is seen on surveillance video leaving her SUV behind in Hyattsville. According to charging documents, she approached the suspect's GMC Yukon and after approximately a minute of conversing, walks over to the passenger side of the vehicle and gets into the passenger front seat. Police say they drove to his house in Bowie and believe he killed her in his bedroom. A roommate reports hearing the defendant having sex and then a grunting noise which made it believe that someone wasn't enjoying the sex. After executing a search warrant, police found what they believed to be the victim's blood and missing fingernail, along with hair and other evidence in the bedroom and in the trash, along with multiple pairs of women's underwear and lingerie. Hernandez Mendez agreed to an interview, telling detectives he went to a nightclub to meet his ex-girlfriend, but never did. When detectives questioned further, the defendant denied any involvement. Prince George's officials say Hernandez Mendez was in the United States illegally. U.S. Park Police arrested him for a DUI 5 months ago, but let him go.
The U.S. Government has made status of individuals relevant. This was someone who was in their custody, and they made the decision to release him. So I think the questions should be asked of the Justice Department.
And ICE has now issued a detainer for the suspect. Now, the victim worked for a nonprofit that was one of Governor Moore's initiatives, and the governor tonight is calling her a bright light, and he is promising accountability for anyone responsible for her murder. We're live in your corner in Anne Arundel County. Mike Halgren, WJZ.
Now, according to reports, DaCara Thompson was a young black 19-year-old girl who was living with her father. And as she was living with her father, who kept a strong watch on her, DaCara Thompson decided to play Little Miss Sneaky and said that she was going out for gas at 10 p.m. one night, and what she was going to go meet this Hugo Hernandez Mendez, an illegal migrant from Guatemala. And as she looked to meet Hugo Hernandez Mendez inside of the parking lot of a Family Dollar, she was seen on camera getting into his vehicle. And after she was allegedly seen getting into his vehicle, she was reported to have been having sex with this man, Hugo Hernandez Mendez. And after having sex with this man, allegedly what happened was that Hugo Hernandez Mendez murdered DaCara Thompson and then took her body and then threw it over a bridge where it wound up being found all along an embankment off Route 50 in Arundel County on August 31st. And after her body was found, police did an investigation, and after doing this investigation, they then arrested and charged Hugo Hernandez Mendez with murder as related to the death of DaCara Thompson, and he is currently in custody for taking the life of DaCara Thompson. Now, some want to say that this whole situation is a case of an illegal migrant taking the life of an innocent black woman, and while that is the case, I have to look at DaCara Thompson and see a really disturbing case of what happens when a girl is Little Miss Sneaky. Now, I talk about Little Miss Sneaky in my book, The Legendary Mad Matilda, and when it comes down to a lot of young black girls, they don't have the discernment to be able to understand how to function when they're 19 years old, and a lot of times they're extremely naive to the dangers that are around them. And because they're naive to the dangers that are around them, they wind up thinking that because they are 19, they know everything, and they think they can know a situation. And that's sadly what happened here with DaCara Thompson as related to this 35-year-old man. She thought that she could get involved with this 35-year-old man and nothing could come of it because she thought, oh, everything is okay. And that's the way, again, 19-year-olds think, because 19-year-old girls, basically, they're not really mature at that point. And this is where a parent really has to step in and let their daughters know that, certain things they're not going to do. And that's what the sad part about this whole situation was. This father really should have sat down and put his foot down and said, no, you're not getting no gas at 10 p.m. No, at 10 p.m. ain't nothing around a gas station but a bunch of pookies and a bunch of dusties. And any father who does know how life works as related to things knows that, again, if your daughter is making up a statement like, oh, I need to get gas, you got to understand that that's a case of a girl playing Little Miss Sneaky. And as they play Little Miss Sneaky, they're out to go do some dirt. Because if this girl really did want to go out on a date, she would have just gone out here and had the guy come to the house, because that's what good girls of character go out here and do. They go out here and they look to go out here and bring the man to the house to go meet their father. However, if they know that the man is not of a good standard or a good character, what they'll do is play the role, as I've said, Little Miss Sneaky, and play the role of Little Miss Sneaky, hoping to get with this guy because while they have these emotions and feelings for this guy, they basically don't understand anything about men or how to be able to vet men. And that's why when you see your daughter playing Little Miss Sneaky, you gotta nip it in the bud. And in the case of what I believe this woman, DaCara Thompson, what would happen is that she basically got spellbound by this guy's his brown skin and the fact that he was Hispanic. And as she got mesmerized by the vibe that she was feeling from this Hispanic guy and the attention she was receiving from this Hispanic guy, this is what I believe led to DaCara Thompson going out here and looking to try to get involved with this guy, who basically was, again, a Guatemalan migrant who basically had nothing going for him. But this girl, because she could not discern how to pick a guy, she basically went out here and got involved with this man, not understanding how things work. Now, any critical thinking woman or any critical thinking man would understand, if this is a 35-year-old guy and he's checking for me, there's something wrong. Because a 35-year-old man checking for a 19-year-old girl, there's something wrong with that. I mean, no healthy 35-year-old man even wants to check for a 35-year-old woman. I know when I was working at the City College of New York, I had a 20-year-old Dominican girl come up to me and was looking to try to talk to me. And I was sitting there 34 years old, and I wasn't really interested in her because I said, you know, this is a kid in my eyes. This is a child to me. And while I was nice to her, I just said, no, I'm not going to go out here and try to go at her because I know she's trying to make advances towards me, but I understand that I'm on the job. I need to go out here and focus on my job, and I also need to handle my business. And I basically handled the situation by just letting her know that she was a child and basically treating her like the child that she actually was. That's what mature men go out here and do. But predators like this Hugo Mendez is alleged to be. This guy basically, he was looking for somebody to prey on, looking for somebody young, naive, and extremely green. And as he saw this young, naive, and extremely green young woman in DaCara Thompson, he saw a mark that he could go out here and take advantage of. And sadly, what happened with DaCara Thompson is that she wound up getting involved with this guy, thinking, oh, I'm going to get out here and be involved with this Hispanic man. Now, I don't know if she was one of these swirlers or one of these divestors, but I know that this is somebody's daughter. And as somebody's daughter, it just really was sad to me to see this young woman wind up losing her life, see this young woman sadly lose her life at the hands of this Guatemalan migrant who was just looking for somebody to be able to participate in his sexually deviant acts. And after he participated in his sexually deviant acts, like many nice guys, what he wanted to do was again not have sex with her because he loved her, but because he wanted to just have power over her. He wanted to break down her body. He wanted to take her power and her agency away from her and take away her life. And then after taking away her agency, her power, and her life, and seeing the life leave her eyes, what this deviant wanted to do in order to maintain his smooth world was he basically threw her body over an embankment near the highway, just like she was garbage and not a human being. I mean, this is the type of behavior that serial killers participate in. And this man basically, again, saw this black girl as not a person that you go out here and have a relationship with, but as an object to go out here and participate in his sexually deviant acts, and then gratify himself not just from the sex, but also gratify himself from the violence he participated in. And that's where this guy's behavior is almost like a serial killer. And what's really scary is that this is the case as related to a lot of the people who enter the country illegally. There's a large group of these individuals who are basically felons and criminals in their own country. And since they have not been vetted by Homeland Security, these individuals are running around in our country and running around in our communities looking for people to prey on, just like they did in their own country. And that's what sadly happens with some of these migrants. Now, I'm not going to say all of these migrants. Some migrants are here for a better life, but there are others who are looking for an opportunity to go out here and participate in predatory behavior on people who were innocent, naive, young girls like DaCara Thompson. And what's sad about DaCara Thompson is that even with a father in her life, she didn't understand the danger she was in, similar to the Matilda Crowley character I wrote about in my novel, The Legendary Mad Matilda. Again, in the book Mad Matilda, she was spellbound by the goth scene to the point where she was caught up in doing these raves, not understanding the danger as related to those illegal parties. And the same thing here happened with DaCara Thompson. DaCara Thompson basically was a young girl who was oblivious to the danger she was in because, like Matilda, she was young and naive. And because she was young and naive, she thought she could trust a 35-year-old man. And when it comes down to her, she didn't understand, again, with a little critical thinking, as related to things, when you have to understand, if this guy is 35 and he's checking for you when he's 19, there's something wrong with this dude. Because again, when it comes down to a 35-year-old Hispanic man who has his life on point, he ain't really checking for no black woman. No, he's checking for the Hispanic woman first, and he's checking for the Hispanic woman who is in his own age range because he wants to have a relationship with somebody he can relate to. No, when it comes down to these predators, they look for young, naive girls who don't really know how the world works, and they look for young, naive girls that they can go out here and take advantage of. And that's what happened here, sadly, in the case of DaCara Thompson. And sadly, she got taken advantage of because she was Little Miss Sneaky, who was possibly looking to do some swirling or was spellbound and caught up in the fact that this Hispanic man was paying attention to her, and this older man was paying attention to her, because a lot of girls get mesmerized by the idea of the Hispanic, an older man, thinking, again, sometimes they're thinking about having the curly hair of the biracial child in some cases, or they're just thinking about, oh, this guy from another race is paying attention to me, and not thinking about, why is this guy paying attention to me? That's something any critical thinking girl or any father would think about, but it's hard to be able to figure that situation out when your daughter is Little Miss Sneaky. Now, Little Miss Sneaky she puts herself in dangerous situations, and that's what happened here. And the sad part is the father didn't figure it out, because I would have figured it out in about 10 seconds. I mean, as someone, again, I was writing this whole situation, and because I understand how sneaky girls are. I know how girls will pull certain stunts, and you have to be on top of a girl harder than you have to be a son, because a son may do stupid stuff in front of you, but a daughter will do stuff behind your back, and you have to really be smart about dealing with daughters. You have to really be on them and really be, as I'll pardon my French, on their asses hard, and that's what you have to be as a father. And when your daughter does come to you with something slick like, oh, I want to go out at 10 p.m. to go get some gas, that's when you tell her to take her ass back upstairs and get in that bed, because she ain't getting no gas. That's, again, what a smart father would say, because that's when you know, okay, this chick is Little Miss Sneaky. She got some pookie or some dude she want to get with, or she want to go to some party where there's some unsavory people, or she want to go to some club with some dusties. And that's where you got to just, again, put your daughter on lockdown to let her know that, I know what's up. And even in some cases, call it out. Sometimes you even got to call it out and ask, who is this dude? That's what you got to do as a man. But sadly, the father didn't do it in this case. He thought he could trust his daughter. And because he, again, gave his daughter trust in a not trustworthy situation, sadly, this young woman is no longer with us. And sadly, this woman is no longer with us, possibly because she got mesmerized by this Hispanic man, just like many of the girls who go out here and swirl. I don't know if this is the case, but I know this is a case of her getting caught up with one of these beta males. And again, when it comes down to these men of other races, in some cases, not a lot of cases, but some cases, these guys, again, they're not really looking out for the best interest of a black girl. No, either they're looking to smash and dash, or even worse, like in the case of DaCara Thompson, they're looking to, again, be able to gratify their deviant sexual acts by seeing a black woman as an object that they can easily dispose of, because they don't see black girls as human. And that's something many black girls don't understand if they get spellbound by those crystal blue eyes, or that crystal brown eyes, or the creamy brown skin of one of these Latino men or one of these other men of other races. They're not understanding that you are not seen as a person to them. They don't really want a relationship with you. No, either they want your body in the least dangerous scenario, or they want to, again, use you to gratify their deviant sexual behavior in the worst case scenario, and take your life and gratify themselves by taking your life. That's what you're dealing with when you're dealing with a guy like this. And sadly, this is what happened to DaCara Thompson. And I look at this whole situation as a black man. I look at it as a guy who, again, could have had a daughter that age, and it really saddens me to see this young woman lose her life. And the whole thing is that there is a lesson here. Again, a lesson about being Little Miss Sneaky. Again, you don't know what you're sneaking into. And the whole thing is if you have to sneak around with a dude, he's not worth dealing with in the first place. Now, if you want to pick up some of my books on the SJS Direct imprint, you can pick up those books like my book, The Man Crisis, to learn how to identify the antisocial behavior of individuals like this and possibly save your life from a predator like this. And if you want to pick up, I also have positive black fiction on there, like the legendary Mad Matilda. It talks about situations like this as well, about being Little Miss Sneaky and how much it can destroy a girl's life. And you can find all of those books on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find them at other online bookstores like Drafted Digital, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, and big box retailers like Walmart and Target. That's all. And if you want to help out the channel, you can drop a donation to the PayPal or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.
Now available in paperback and e-readers, Spinsterella Goth Girl Summer. Take a trip into the macabre world of goth modeling in the new millennium in this spooktacular Spinsterella story. Pick up your copy of Spinsterella Goth Girl Summer in paperback and e-readers at Amazon.com and online booksellers everywhere.
Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.